Welcome back. In this chapter, we'll go through some complexity management strategies for some of the selected calculation elements and attributes. Let's get going. A recap of the framework again. The system interdependencies can be managed via the demand planning process within the technology team. This is not to be confused with the strategic demand planning process done at the strategic level of the business. There are, or should be, engagements between business and technology teams, between the feasibility analysis and the strategic demand management processes that happen before the project gets fed into the project pipeline. The feasibility analysis allows the technology team to also look at the technology landscape and assess what the impact of business requirements would be. The significance of this process at a strategic level is that sometimes it's simply not possible to augment the existing landscape, especially where novel technologies are involved. Sometimes it means internal venturing is required, where a partner should be sought to help set up a new technology venturing business unit. This is the point where commercial management becomes a big part of the conversation. Sometimes external venturing is required, where a startup that has already extensively developed the technology capability being sought is acquired in some sort of acquisition deal, either equity or full-on M&A. If you've done our new venture creation course, you would know how important the process of strategic planning is and how to go about it in a way that actually creates a path for clarity and progress at execution stage. We would encourage you to visit the customer definition and value proposition chapter of that course. It deals with clearly building up to goals in a way that they are not only executable but measurable as well. A project with unclear and unmeasurable goals is almost always certain to unnecessarily waste time and resources and potentially end up cancelled. Sometimes, in an effort to please higher-ups, project teams cram large scope elements into one phase of a project, leading to complexity that becomes impossible to manage and end up significantly delaying the project and exceeding the project budget way above what would have been the case had the project been phased properly from the onset. When it becomes obvious that the project has large scope elements that require the same resources to perform multiple key tasks, then the best approach is to find a project implementation model from a tasks, activities, and least path of resistance perspectives that prioritizes high value output activities with manageable risk and dependencies. High-value outputs early in the project delivery timeline should be enough of a barter with higher-ups in exchange for more range in phasing out the scope and associated activities. Constantly monitoring the industry landscape, identifying future trends, and aligning the talent pipeline to the organization's training plans with these future industry trends goes without saying. It's what separates successful disruption navigators from the hopelessly disrupted. The nature of people that have been experts in their fields for a long time means that there's great risk if the organization is not continuously renewing itself with fresh, new talent. There are many case studies which detail how industry disruption trends spotted from a mile away before they even become a real threat are fobbed off as follies of the inexperienced, because acknowledging them disturbs the sphere of influence and power from those that have been considered experts in the field for a period of time. Kodak and Blockbuster come to mind. Uncertainty in terms of projects usually relates to decision-making and divergence of key stakeholder views. In some instances, the project is a knee-jerk reaction to sudden business landscape trends affecting the business or customer experience issues due to an unexpected rise in demand. Sometimes this position is unavoidable. So the best approach might be to assign a workaround into a continuous improvement process, while a permanent solution goes through the process of ideation and feasibility and thread through the normal project process. A business case from the onset of every project would be great, but we all know that's not how the real world works. Lastly, we deal with change management. A functioning business architecture operational framework ensures smooth management of changes to functions, processes, and operations through continuous improvement activities and large projects. Environments with a non-functioning business architecture landscape are usually plagued by the silo effect, with duplicated processes and inefficient use of resources. In terms of project complexity, it's not as straightforward as saying that the higher the number of processes impacted, the more complex the project. The type of functions and processes play a big role. Impacting one customer-facing process is arguably more complex than impacting a boatload of peripheral processes with low customer or core business operations impact. Ultimately, managing the dynamics in a project depends on how the project is mobilized and how that feeds into the launch plan. Referencing change management from a people, systems, process lens minimizes a lot of the problems that arise as a result of project outcomes that demand a change or augmentation to how things currently work within an organization. And we're at the end of our Project Complexity Management Knowledge Sharing series. Thanks for joining us. Cheers for now.